Hello, how are you? This is amazing. Let's make sure we're not going to get feedback. This is amazing because I moved from Atlanta back to LA 6 months ago, and there are days that go by that I don't see black and brown people. So I'm really excited, this entire room. Thank you. Just want to be transparent. So this is amazing. It's good to be back home. This is home for me. I grew up on the West Coast, but I took a 20-year run, and now I'm back. Today's conversation is really about diversity and inclusion, and it's really about an expanded view. So yes, I'm the CEO of SMASHD Labs, and you'll learn more about that in this presentation. I think we're doing some awesome shit. We're down the street. My partner is this guy, Troy Carter, handsome devil behind me. And he's an amazing guy, and we both come from a very similar culture. As you mentioned, we've invested in some amazing early stage startups, Spotify, Uber, Lyft, and my partner Troy runs global creative at Spotify by day. So my office is kind of part Spotify, part venture, and part consulting, and it's kind of like if they had a baby, that's what I do. I'm in the middle of this like baby of consulting. So cross-culture ventures is the venture side of what we work on. In full transparency, 500 startups as an investor in cross-culture. We have an amazing set of partners there. Look on the website, we're doing some great stuff there. And this is the lab that we work out of. This is our library. This is our coordinates. We're in Culver City. We're on Washington. And this is where the magic happens. So SMASHD Labs, the consulting startup, what we do is really a syndicate of partners that support brands. We launch brands. Our background is sort of 75 early stage investments, 10 Grammy award-winning artists, and dozens of cultural moments. Troy and I both came out of the record business. The music business is where we learned our foundation, and you'll get a lot of that in this presentation. So tech culture hustle, that's the way that I wanted to treat today's approach to diversity and inclusion. I am a b-boy, I'm a hip-hop head, so I took some creative liberties today to actually use the culture that I come from to kind of tell you a little story. So it was really all a dream. And I was reading Word Up magazine, and Salt and Pepper and Heavy D were in the limousine. And what's amazing is I took this moment last year to read Steve Case's book. I'm sure many of you have read The Third Wave. And he talks about this idea of the third wave. In the first wave, we built the internet, right? He built AOL, it was great. In the second wave, we built all of the services and, that sit on the infrastructure. And then the third wave is the internet of everything, sort of ubiquitous web. It's internet, everything's connected and devices are connected. And we're going to live in this day, which feels like the Jetsons. It's going to be awesome, right? It's going to be incredible. And then he also goes on to say that we're going to solve all these incredible global problems. So healthcare, education, food, transportation, energy. And when I thought about like these problems, I thought that we really needed dependencies. So we need problem solvers, we need innovators, we need hustlers, we need collaborators. And when I thought about that moment of who those people were, I thought about hip hop. And I thought back to the evolution of hip-hop and really the idea that hip-hop is really immigrants that came from Jamaica and the Caribbean and Latin America and Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic who came to the Bronx to actually create an art form. In fact, the light poles, if you see here, like where they had to actually find the power sources, these are our first black and brown engineers. And so it really inspired me as a culture. And it really inspired me that these were collaborators, these are hustlers, these are innovators that came together to create an art form and the art form that I came out of. And hip-hop really is the result of a culture innovation hack. It's the manifestation of a hack. Even the Tascam mixer and even the bass and all these things are really part of a hack. And so I think about things, lean startup. I'm sure many of you founders here in the room have lived on lean startup, built your canvas, done all this stuff, and you know the concept of an MVP. And it's this idea that you build and you learn and you measure. Well, in the music business, we actually had our first MVP. It was called a mixtape. We took a rough mix, took a song, and we threw it on a mixtape. And then we sent it out to the community, and if the street said it was hot, then we actually went back and mastered it and then put it on an album. If it was whack, then we chucked it, and it goes away, right? And so the mixtape was actually the first ever minimal viable product, and it came out of hip-hop. And so my dear friend and best friend is a guy named Jeffrey Towns. He's also the greatest DJ on the planet. And even though I grew up in Palo Alto, I wrote code in 8th grade, I actually learned everything about technology from guys like this, who were the first guys who had computers and gear, and they were the guys who were showing me the power of technology. This is a young, suave James, I guess, back in the day. And we did some amazing things in culture. We built some amazing brands, and it was an incredible run. But really, who I am, just to give you some background, I'm just a kid from Oakland, really. I grew up in the Bay Area. I grew up in the town, was a bad kid, so they shipped me off to Palo Alto. It was kind of like being the was kind of like being the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I went from Oakland to Palo Alto, went to high school at the wonderful Palo Alto High School, greatest high school on the planet, and went to high school across the street from Stanford, where I actually used to sneak in across the street at Meyer and Green Library in the stacks, and I actually played around with these computers that were actually on the internet. And they let me in, and I would sneak around, and I saw these things that were talking to each other. And my aunt, who was owned her own business, bought me my first Apple. This is way back. I'm a little old. So this is 88, 89. And then I finally got my act together, my shit together, and I went to the greatest university in Los Angeles, which is called UCLA. And I spent my time here in Los Angeles. And then I went to the record business, and I worked on some really amazing brands. I launched the Fugees and Nas and Destiny's Child. But I participated in waves, in the waves that Steve Case talks about. So in the first wave, I left the record business in '98, and I built a website, and I sold it. It was called, the company was called Urban Box Office. The site was called Soul Purpose, and it was probably what you would call a blog today. I'm speaking very fast because Laura told me I have 20 minutes. So if you're wondering why I'm speaking so fast, because I'm moving through this. And in the second wave, which I was a part of as well, I built a social media agency. I ran it from 10 to 14, and I sold it. And in the third wave, I'm doing this thing with Troy Carter and really creating value and helping brands think about the future. So I've been involved in all the waves, and I've had an opportunity to see everything. And today, we're really helping brands unlock opportunities and value. So we believe in these things. There's a little bit about who we are and what we believe in. We believe in this tapestry of beautiful faces, men, women, black, yellow, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. I like them brown, yellow, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. I like the tapestry. I like the tapestry. I like the colors. We believe in diversity. We believe in diverse founders. We believe in diverse ideas. Moving from California to Atlanta, which is where I was, and I was in New York, I also believe in geography and diverse geography. I really learned about America when I lived in Atlanta for 13 years. And I really have an understanding of the country, a much better understanding of the country after being a West Coast kid who was in Atlanta for 13 years. We also believe that Troy and I talk about this a lot, that we're sort of the off-the-grid entrepreneurs. We weren't CS majors. We came out of hip-hop. We look at the world very differently. And we actually believe that we're off the grid, and we believe there's a billion more of us out there, off-the-grid entrepreneurs, the kind of undocumented entrepreneurs that we believe we are. And this is an interesting story. There's this kid that walked into my office. He's an LA kid. He walked into my office in Atlanta about a year ago, and he had this idea for this Dab and Santa sweater. And he moves to Atlanta like November 1, and then he like November 13th, he meets 2 Chainz, and then like December 1, they utilized Instagram and built this on-demand printing thing with these Dab and Santa sweaters that are behind me. And then through the entire Christmas holiday, through the use of tech and social media, they actually built a business and did, this is the guy, CEO Matty J, if you guys know him, he's an amazing guy. And they did $3.2 million in sales in 90 days. What I thought is interesting, because I was trying to give him nomenclature. I was like, you are a tech entrepreneur. This is what the tech ecosystem is about. It's about hustle. It's about understanding how to build product. It's about understanding how to find your audience. And so I believe he too is sort of representative of the off-the-grid entrepreneur. And so what we also believe at SMASHD is that innovation lives beyond Silicon Valley. And that's great, right? There's many other places where things are happening. So we invest, and we have a syndicate, and we have relationships with founders all over the country. And I'm excited to be back here. By the way, it's been a 20-year run since I've been back in LA. This is the first time I've spoken in LA, so it's good to be back. Thank you. How many LA people? Raise hands again. Thank you. If you see me around the streets, just give me a hug. Just holler at me. I'm back. It's 20 years. It looks very different. Culver City, where I live, is totally, where I work is very different. And it's just good to be back in LA. So Atlanta, we see founders all over. I'm excited about my friend Paul Judge and what he's doing in Atlanta. We spend a lot of time together. There's amazing founders in amazing cities out there in America, right? We love what's happening in Oakland. This is one of our investments. Maven Deshawn, incredible founder, doing great things. In Nashville, we love her. She's doing some incredible things. I'm moving fast. Cincinnati. You can look these people up, and it'll be on SlideShare, right? The slides are on SlideShare? Okay, great. In Cincinnati, listener, Rodney Williams, great founder, spending a lot of time with Rodney. We are not an investor yet, but you guys should know Rodney. But again, in Cincinnati, right, you have the ecosystem. You have Procter & Gamble. You have all these ex-Procter & Gamble people there. You have Rodney, who's really building a base right there in Cincinnati. And in Nairobi, I'm really focused on the continent these days. And so love what our friends are doing at Brick, and love what's happening in the continent vis-a-vis not just startups, but youth culture in general. I think it's an exciting place if you're building products and you're thinking about youth culture. So we're out there right now in cities, really bringing the SMASHD accelerator out into the country. That's kind of what all this is about, right? We're really looking for founders. We're looking to bring brands with us to unlock innovation. So we did Atlanta as our first stop, and we're going to be in Detroit on January 30th and 31st. And for us, it's about really bringing Sand Hill Road to Detroit, to Philadelphia, to Compton, to places that are disconnected. And we feel like we want to be this bridge that connects all this ecosystem together. Because really it is about hustlers, it's about innovators, it's about a different way of thinking about diversity and inclusion. And we are around the corner, but we have touch points, and we have a network and a syndicate that touches so many different pieces. And we want to be helpful. We want to be seen as not just part of the diversity and inclusion discussion, but part of the innovation economy in a really special way. So we are local. We are here for you. We'd love to talk to you, and I'll take any questions. Thank you.